Never got Cowboy Bebop the first time I watched it. I could tell it was stylish, the music was incredible, and the animation was beautiful. And the whole thing kind of had this vibe that was hard to deny. But when people talked about it like it was one of the greatest anime ever made, I had such a different reaction to it. I liked it, but I didn't completely understand why it resonated so deeply with so many people. And I think it's because Cowboy Bebop is one of those shows where it doesn't always hit you all at once. It's something you find yourself coming back to. Something you strangely feel drawn to before you can explain exactly why. But then over time, its mood, its sadness, and the emotional weight beneath all that style begins to sink in. Because underneath the space western aesthetic and the bounty hunting premise, Cowboy Bebop is really a show about drifting. Not drifting in the sense of freedom or adventure, or at least not entirely. It's drifting as a way of living when you don't really know how to move on. Drifting because the past still has a hold on you. Drifting because you're untethered, emotionally, personally, and even spiritually. That feeling is everywhere in Cowboy Bebop. The Bebop crew is always moving. They travel from place to place, chasing bounties, through cities, through stations, through planets. But despite all that motion, very few of them feel like they're actually going anywhere. They aren't building toward a future, but more so they're surviving in the space between what they lost and what they can't quite become. Spike is the clearest expression of that idea. He carries himself in such a nonchalant way. He's calm, funny, capable, almost too cool to be affected by anything. But the more you watch, the more obvious it becomes that his distance isn't confidence, it's emptiness. Spike doesn't seem like someone invested in his own future. He feels more like someone waiting for the past to catch up with him. His history with Julia and Vicious defines so much of who he is, even when he acts like it doesn't. He moves through life like a person that's half awake, and that dreamlike quality is what makes him such a compelling character. He isn't really searching for a new life. In a lot of ways, he's trapped in his old one. Spike drifts because part of him never truly left it behind. Jet's different, but he's drifting too. At first, he seems like the grounded one. He cooks, he keeps the ship together, and he often feels like the most practical member of the crew. But Jet is deeply tied to his old wounds, his life as a cop, his deep sense of betrayal, and the life he envisioned himself having. He tries to give order around himself, but that order doesn't really do anything to heal him. It just gives shape to the loneliness. Faye might be the most direct example of drifting in the entire series. She's disconnected from her own past, her sense of self, and any stable idea of home. She presents herself as guarded, sharp, and self-interested, but beneath that is someone that's completely disconnected. Even when she learns more about who she was, it doesn't suddenly fix her. If anything, it makes the distance between past and present feel even more painful. What makes these characters resonate with us is that their drifting doesn't seem abstract. It feels human. It feels like grief, it feels like regret, and the difficulty of knowing what to do with your life once the version you imagine for yourself is gone. And I think that's exactly why I didn't connect with the show at first. A lot of what the show does is built through atmosphere, silence, and repetition. You're not meant to understand everything immediately. A lot of the time the show would want you to just sit with its characters and their emptiness. This can make the show feel very distant on the first watch, but it can also be very rewarding later on. Because as you start watching the show, you realize that it's not necessarily about the plot, it's more so about the mood. It's about that feeling of carrying unresolved parts of yourself through everyday life. It's about that loneliness that never becomes melodrama. It's about people who keep on moving, not because they're free, but because they don't know what else to do. And at a certain point, that resonates. So when I think about Cowboy Bebop now, I obviously think about how cool it is. The way it slowly unravels itself, the way it becomes more meaningful the more time you sit with it, the way it's able to draw you back in even when that first watch didn't hit. It's a show about drifting, but that drifting is exactly what makes it feel so emotionally precise. These characters are always in motion, but they're haunted by what they've lost, what they can't recover, and what they may never become. And that makes them feel deeply familiar. Maybe that's why the show resonates so much. Maybe that's why people keep on returning to it. And maybe that's why a series so lonely can feel so comforting.